We debated earlier, the fact that many Jewish people in Britain feel they've been discriminated against. It was rather backed up by the behaviour, I think, of Border Force at Manchester Airport, and British foreign policy has shifted. Have we betrayed Israel? Well, I'm joined by the co-founder of the Muslim Debate Initiative, Abdullah al Andalusi, who's back on the programme. Do you understand why Jewish people in this country are beginning to feel threatened and very uncomfortable?
Well, I can't speak to people's internal mental states, but many Jewish people have told me that there's a propaganda that's incited by Israel, that Jews should not feel safe in the presence of people merely calling for the rights of Palestinians, that somehow the rights of Palestinians are inimical to Jewish nationhood, which is not true.
Isn't it?
And no, it's not. Of course, what the rights of Palestinians is inimical to the...
Okay, let's just get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
So, would you recognise that, and we can argue about the borders, but would you recognise that the state of Israel should exist?
No states have a right to exist. People have a right to exist. States are imagination, are things we imagine in our minds. Are mental constructs. They don't have a physical reality.
Well, normally they do.
Humans have a physical reality.
Mountain ranges. We're an island. So very often geography is a part of this too.
You're talking about the Earth's crust, right? And the Earth's crust exists indeed, and lands exist. But people exist physically, and people have a right to exist, whether they're Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Palestinian, Arab, or whomever. And that is what this is all about. It's about the Palestinians' right to exist.
Israel exists
with dignity and equal rights.
Israel exists as a state. Does it have a right to exist?
As I said before, no state has a right to exist. Right. Only people have a right to exist.
That's not really an answer, is it?
No, it is an answer, because if Israel is a state, it falls within the subset of states. If I'm saying that nation-states don't have a right to exist, people have a right to exist.
I don't agree with that at all. People form together in nation-states. The Jewish people have formed together and I understand, complex history over 2,000 years and all the rest. I mean, the point is this, Abdullah, that, from the river to the sea, that was put up on the Elizabeth Tower, that's been chanted on marches weekend after weekend, even the kindest interpretation of that is that it is about the abolition of the current state of Israel.
Well, look, we were all about the abolition of the state of South Africa as an apartheid state, changing it into an inclusive state.
Which it is.
So now it is, yeah. But before, Margaret Thatcher and the Tories were all against that. So if you're saying to me that should we be against Israel is currently formed as an ethno-nationalist state, privileging one ethnic group, one group of Semites over other Semites, then I think this should change. All Semites in the land of Palestine, be they Palestinian Arabs or Jews, should at the very minimum have an equal dignity, equal tolerance, equal rights, and equal freedom to go about. The Likud party, why don't you condemn the Likud party, who's one of their formal statements and on their manifesto is from the Jordan River to the sea, it will only be Israeli sovereignty, right? So is that genocidal then? Oh, no one talks about that.
No. Look, I would love to see a two-state solution and a compromise, but my problem with this is, and we had, Ralphie Bloom on from Manchester, and I know you were delayed getting here a bit earlier, saying that many of the other things that are being chanted in the streets, are basically death to the Jews. Do you understand why the Jewish community are concerned?
Well, if you'd like to show me video footage of anyone chanting anything that is a racist, or genocidal and so on, if it exists, but guess what? I have not seen it. I've looked at all the footages, I've even looked at GBNews' footage and so on, and you never see anyone, even you guys don't show anyone, citing racist or genocidal statements.
I think
Are you saying that Free Palestine is a genocidal statement?
I think that the glider images on the back of the anoraks were pretty unpleasant, don't you?
Well, for one individual, the glider image, and the police dealt with those two individuals out of hundreds of thousands of individuals, right? Are you really going to judge the whole march of hundreds of thousands of people by one or two individuals, which the police dealt with?
We have showed a lot of footage over time of chanting in the streets, of many other things that normally would not be deemed to be acceptable. Where does all this end, in your opinion?
But first, I'm just saying, is Free Palestine, saying Free Palestine, a statement that you'd condemn?
Not just Free Palestine on its own. No, it's everything. It's things that go around that.
Like what? The abolition of apartheid, of treating Palestinians as second-class citizens, of no-class citizens, administrative detentions, denying their rights.
The fact that from the river to the sea has some quite deep connotations when it's put in a pro-Palestinian context.
Yeah, freedom for everybody. But what's wrong with that?
The United Nations last night passed a resolution calling on a ceasefire. And I'm not condemning it because it did very explicitly say in the resolution that the hostages should be released. Do you think there's any possibility of negotiations with Netanyahu?
Well, that remains to be seen because his rather hard right stance of denying the Palestinians any state for themselves, denying them even a one-state solution or just giving them equal rights in the first place, because they say that would make a 51% Palestinian majority state, and they don't want that because of their ethno-nationalist, racist policies. This means that it's very difficult to have any hope with Netanyahu. All we can hope for is that the international community and many in the Israeli public themselves pressure the government to bring to the negotiations to free the Jewish hostages that are held by Hamas and to free the 3,558 Palestinian hostages held by the Israeli government under administrative detention.
Whether the Israelis are racist or whether they're just battling for self-survival, surrounded by people and not too far away, Iran and others that want to destroy them, remains to be seen.
I'm not saying Israelis in general are racist. I'm saying that the Israeli government has very publicly avowed racist policies about wanting to maintain a Jewish majority. If that entails denying Palestinians equal citizenship in the territories that Israel claims are theirs. If you have people living in your territory and you say it's theirs, it belongs to you yourself, give them equal citizenship then. They don't.
I understand the boundary issue. I get that. Yeah. Abdullah, the only thing that your conversation with me proves, and equally the conversation we had earlier, is that there's no end to this coming any time soon, I'm afraid.